Husband of a month reveals my childhood trauma in front of his entire family at a gathering to win a bet with his mother. But his face turns pale because his innocent joke turned to be lethal for his family after this person stood up and confessed the mystery I've been trying to solve since the past 10 years. So about a month ago, I got married to Theo after 3 years of dating, but we have known each other since we were in high school, since we were in the same year. We were not very close back then, but we met again at a wedding 3 years back since one of our common friends was getting married. We struck up a conversation. We exchanged numbers and that was that. Soon enough, we were going out and we got along really well, so we moved in together and last month we got married. And like any other relationship, we also had our ups and downs. But one of the biggest problems that I had with him was that he was a bit of a big mouth. He has a tendency of spilling the beans. He can't keep secrets and he doesn't seem to take it seriously either because he thinks it's not a big deal. But it has been quite embarrassing a few times in the past. And recently, it just crossed all lines because what he brought up didn't just make me lose all faith in his family. It made me lose all faith in him as well. He revealed one of my most traumatic experiences just to win a bet with his mom in front of the entire family, and it was humiliating. And what happened after that was even worse. I'll try to give a detailed explanation of what happened, so please bear with me. A couple of days ago, we hosted our dinner party at our house. The first one we were hosting was a married couple, so it was quite special. We had invited our families over. We were having a fun time and we are chatting when the conversation suddenly turned to high school. Now this is something that I have in common, not just with Leon, but also my sister-in-law, Amy. All of us went to the same high school. But Amy was 2 years older than Theo and me, so we were 2 grades apart. But even then, we knew a lot of the same people. And during that conversation, my mother-in-law started saying that in her time, bullying was much more common, and she had a much tougher time back then. But then Theo started arguing with her that during our time, it was still a pretty big thing. And back then, since social media was just taking off, it was even easier to get bullied or bully people. Then they started disagreeing, and they were having fun, banter. So I didn't see anything bad about the conversation, but all of a sudden, Theo started to say that he could prove that we had it just as bad as they did or possibly even worse. And he had had a couple of drinks, so I thought maybe I should stop him. But before I could do that, him and his mother had a bet going of who had the most traumatizing experience with bullies in high school. They were making light of the situation. They were laughing about it, but I knew where this was heading and I didn't want him to say anything that I wouldn't like. So I tried to stop him, but he just dismissed me and started narrating a story. And that, unfortunately, happened to be my high school story. I'll try to keep it short. I was in my freshman year and had just started high school, but even then I was quite popular. I don't mean to brag or anything, but I've always been pretty conventionally good-looking even though I've never made a big deal of it myself. But I've been told that I am, and I was one of the popular girls in high school, always. However, I always made a point never to bully anybody or be mean to anybody, and I tried to be nice to everyone to the best of my abilities. But clearly, somebody didn't like that because couple of months into my freshman year, somebody started sending me quite hateful, threatening messages on MySpace. They would pick apart my appearance, calling me ugly, saying that everyone was lying to me and that I was nothing special. And at first, I just ignored it because it was clearly somebody trying to troll me from a fake account. But then the messages started getting more personal, saying stuff like, she knew what I was up to with all the boys in my grade, which was just a weird thing to say because I was not up to anything at all. But, yes, there was a lot of shaming of me for having friends who were guys, accusations of me being an attention seeker, and a lot of derogatory words were thrown about. And then there were a lot of threats as well, threats that would be carried out if I ever tried to speak to anybody about any of this, if I tried to tell my parents or find out who this person was. And at 14, I was too scared and too immature to figure out for myself that this was just somebody bluffing, and they would not actually be able to do anything. I thought that I was in serious danger, so I started getting withdrawn and I was just really worried about whoever this person was. I wanted to find out who was bullying me, but I was too scared to do anything about it, so I just kept my mouth shut. And for almost 3 months, this went on, and I didn't do anything. But then after 3 months, it just stopped randomly as it had started, and I was none the wiser as to who it was. But after that, I started getting really worried about people in school. I became very mistrustful and quiet. And for about a year after that, I was in that state of mind. So it was a pretty traumatizing experience for me, and I had discussed this with Leon in private. But I never expected him to talk to anybody about this and make light of something like this that traumatized me so badly then. So when he brought it all up, I was already pretty upset, especially because I was trying to get him to stop. And he just kept going on, and he was making it sound like it was such a joke, like it was very funny or something, but it was not. For me, it was a very dark time in my life. And even though it has been 10 years since then, I still remember all of it. That's how deeply affected I was by it. And I didn't find it nice that he was making fun of me by sharing it like that. And then things got worse because all of a sudden, I noticed that Amy had literally gone white in the face. She was fidgeting, and then just a couple of minutes later, she announced that she had something to say. I had no idea what she was about to do. I was already pretty disturbed because of what Leon had done. And even then, because he was a bit tipsy, he was still laughing, whereas everyone else was just very confused about how to react because I was visibly upset. But then what Amy went on to do really took the cake because she confessed that it was actually her. All along, it had been her. And when Leon had initially told her that he had started dating me, she had felt very awkward because she remembered it. And the reason that she had bullied me all those years ago was just so incredibly petty that I don't even know how to bring it up. Basically, she liked the guy, and they had been friends for a while, but he ended up having a bit of a crush on me. I never knew. I never even found out about any of it. But he had confessed about it to Amy, and she, out of sheer jealousy, decided to bully me. That was it. There was no deep-rooted issue there. And as soon as her crush got over his crush on me, she was over the whole thing as well. And apparently, she didn't just do this to me. There were a couple of other girls who also had to face this. But as it appears, I was the only person who was so deeply affected by it because I was not used to being disliked by people to this extent back then. And after all, I was just 14. So, anyway, she owned up to it, and she started to apologize, saying that at some point, she had intended to tell me the truth. But then she thought that because we were getting along well now, she didn't see the point of bringing up the past and ruining our relationship, and it was honestly just too much to take for me. I didn't know how to react to any of it. I was already very upset because of how Leon had behaved, how he had made a total joke out of my childhood trauma, and then Amy's confession. It was just too much for me to handle, so I didn't say anything. I just walked out, got in my car, and started driving around aimlessly because, honestly, I had no idea what else to do. Obviously, I was crying a lot. So at one point, I decided to drive to the nearby park and had a good cry. Nobody came looking for me, which was both disappointing and a bit relieving. Anyway, after about half an hour, I noticed that there were a lot of missed calls and messages on my phone, so I decided to head home. By the time I got home, everybody had left, and Leon had fully sobered up, and he was very apologetic about everything that had happened. He started to tell me that he really had no intention of talking about my childhood trauma like that, and that he didn't mean to make me feel bad, and that he was really sorry about all of it. He also said that Amy was very sorry because she didn't know that whatever she had done would affect me so deeply that I would carry that into my adulthood. Even now, I get very afraid of messages from unknown or unrecognized phone numbers or accounts. So that's how deeply her actions have impacted my life. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her because it was just really horrible. And even with Leon, I was very disappointed in him. And I told him that whatever he was very sorry, but for now, I just need some space away from him. With him, I guess I'm gonna work things out. It's just that he's really stupid with these things, and most of the time he ends up spilling the beans on stuff like this and becoming really insensitive when he's drinking. So I think we have to bring that under control somehow. But that's a different issue altogether. Right now, the problem is that my in-laws and Amy think that I should forgive her and let it all go because it was 10 years ago. And by now, I should be over it because now she has accepted her mistake and I shouldn't hold it against her. Here's the thing, though. I don't think it's that simple because she had every opportunity to bring it up with me earlier since I've been with Leon for the past 3 years now. We have met each other tons of times by now. So she had every opportunity to come clean to me and ask for forgiveness earlier. But now, I feel like it's too little too late. And whatever happened, it's my trauma to deal with. I don't think they get to decide when I should forgive somebody. But at the end of the day, it's also true that it has been 10 years, so I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on that, WIBTA, if I decided not to forgive my sister-in-law after finding out that she was my anonymous bully. Update 1. Thank you everybody who commented on my post. All the advice, all the support, it was really helpful. So thank you so much. So I have decided that I'm not going to forgive Amy. I'm not going to have any contact with that side of the family for now. It's just been a month since my wedding and it sucks that it's all happening so soon, but I don't care. To me, whatever happened back then, whether it has been 10 years or whether it would have been 20 years, it doesn't matter because what happened was not right. There is no statute of limitations on this thing, at least not for me, because what happened really traumatized me, and it was a very horrible thing for her to do. I don't care if she has changed, and I know that she has, but it doesn't matter right now. I want my own space. I want some time to process everything, and I'm going to forgive her when and if I want to. I'm not going to be forced or emotionally manipulated into forgiving somebody, especially someone who caused me so much pain when I was just 14, just over some stupid crush. So, yeah, that's that. And now, coming to the situation with my husband, I know that a lot of people are upset that I have chosen to stay with him and sort things out. But at the end of the day, we have been together for 3 years, and for the most part, we have had a happy relationship. So I don't want to give up on him right now. I still love him and I know he loves me too regardless of what he did. It's just that when he drinks, he's just all over the place, and he ends up saying things that he shouldn't be saying. Earlier, it was small things like stupid habits or gossip that he was not supposed to reveal, and it would embarrass me a little, but this time, it just ended up being a big thing. And instead of embarrassing me, it just hurt me a lot. But the most important part is that he could understand that it was a horrible thing to have said. It was not nice of him to make fun of the situation like that. And the fact of the matter is that he realizes his mistake and that he has answer over something like this. But anyway, thank you all for all the advice. It really means a lot to me. Update 2. So a lot of people wanted to ask me about my husband's opinion on the fact that I'm choosing not to interact with his family right now. Well, Leon is completely on board with that for 2 reasons, I think. First, he's still very sorry about everything that he said, and he has promised me that he's going to lay off the drinking whenever we are in social situations from now on, because he knows that he can get a little loose and it doesn't work well with me anymore. But, yes, he's clearly very apologetic about everything that happened. That's why he's trying to make it up to me by being sweet for the past couple of days. But of course, that's not the real reason. I was just being sarcastic. I think the real reason is that even he agrees that whatever Amy did to me back then, it was not nice. And I get to choose whether I want to forgive her right now or not. And his family cannot force me to forgive her and start acting as if everything is normal, even though I don't feel like it right now. It's as simple as that, and he understands it. I get it. But his family, unfortunately, he understands it. I get it. But his family, unfortunately, don't agree with it. Both my in-laws have been trying to tell me that Amy feels terrible about whatever happened and that should count for something, so I should try and talk to her because she's miserable? I mean, do they even hear themselves? I should talk to the woman who bullied me when I was a literal child, to the extent where I was actually afraid of anything of the sort happening again well into my adulthood? She probably didn't mean to scare me like that, but she did. All actions have consequences, and it's time that she faces up to hers. For almost 3 years, she's been able to avoid facing the consequences because she never told me the truth. She could have done that, though. She could have done the right thing, but she chose not to. And now I'm supposed to, what, just forget about everything and pretend as if everything's fine? I'm not doing that. I don't care who gets offended, but I'm going to take my time. Her feeling bad about everything that has happened and feeling miserable is really not my problem right now. And they don't realize that right now, by trying to convince me to forgive her and talk things out with her, they are making the situation even worse because it's just getting very annoying for me. They don't seem to realize the fact that pushing me to, I don't know, forgive Amy faster. I'm trying to get me to talk to her and stuff, and it's just going to alienate me even more because it's just showing me that they care more for her and her mental health, and they couldn't care less about me. Me. And it's fair enough because after all, that's their daughter, and they are talking about this. But at the end of the day, I'm also my own person, and I cannot be forced or manipulated into doing anything here. And they need to understand and respect that. They need to respect my space, and they need to leave me alone. So I have not been responding to them, and I've even told Leon to tell his parents that they need to leave me alone for now. But even that has not worked. Instead, they have told Leon that he's the one who started all this, and he's the one who's responsible for it because if he hadn't brought up the story at dinner, then none of this would have happened in the first place. And that if anything, he should be the one that I should be upset with, but not Amy. So clearly, there is definitely a more preferred child, and it's definitely not my husband. I didn't even realize it until now, but looking back, I guess I was not observing it well enough. But anyway, they are allowed to have their own favorites, but it doesn't mean that they have to force their favorite down everybody else's throats. Amy herself has not made much of an attempt to contact me. She tried to get in touch with me a couple of times immediately after the incident. But after that, it's only been her parents who've been pushing me to talk to her, and I don't get it. If she doesn't seem to care so much about whatever's going on, then why do they care? Why are they pushing it so hard? Because I'm sure that if she wanted to talk to me, if she wanted to sort things out with me, she would have made more of an effort. Whether I would have been responsive to her or not is up to me, but I know that she would have made more of an effort if she really wanted to talk and sort things out. Anyway, this whole situation is just really strange for me right now, and I just wish that they would leave me alone for a while so I could process things in my own head and come to a decision about what I want to do for now. They're just being irritating, and I don't understand why they're trying so hard right now. But I'm trying not to let her get to me. I'm gonna just focus on my relationship with Leon and try to fix that first. The rest of it can wait. So we're just gonna focus on sorting out our situation now, and then we'll think about the rest. Update 3. Hi. So Leon and I have been talking about things, and that's what I meant when I said that I would try to sort things out with him because, of course, even though he has apologized, things were still a bit weird and rough. But now though, it's been a couple of days since my last update, and things are much better. We have almost gone back to normal, and he's been promising me that he's never gonna repeat his behavior ever again. And I'm gonna hold him to that, and I'm gonna try my best to make sure he doesn't drink much in social situations because when he does, clearly, it doesn't sit well with him. Anyway, that was that. We have sorted things out. Took us a couple of days, but I think it was worth it that we took our time, that we gave each other space, and we made it work. I know a lot of people would have been much happier if we would have just left him. A lot of people had been telling me that they would not have tolerated that kind of disrespect, and I totally agree. What he did was not right. But again, we are different people, and I think my choice of staying with him and trying to make our marriage work should also be respected. So, anyway, that was about both of us. Now coming to my in-laws, things are still going pretty badly with them because even though I had been ignoring them in the beginning, they did not take that well. And a couple of days ago, they decided to turn up at our place, and it was not just the two of them. Amy had also come along, and all of them were very confident that we were going to sit together. And I was going to forgive them, but I told them very clearly that I was not interested in discussing any of this right now. And then I just wanted to stay away from them, and if they wanted to come in and talk to my husband, they were free to do so. But I would be going out for a while for as long as they were inside, and then they started telling me that then their visit would have no point because they had come all the way here to talk to me, to clear the air with me, so we could all go back to being one big happy family once again. And it was really exhausting to keep explaining the same simple point to them over and over again that I did not want to pretend to be happy right now. I just needed my space. And if they couldn't even give me that, then they were clearly not really concerned about my feelings at all. And all they cared about was themselves. All of them started getting defensive, but I wasn't having it anymore. They were all clamoring around me, saying one thing or the other, and I was just getting very overwhelmed with all of it. So I told them to shut up, and I told him I was leaving the house. And whatever they had to say, they could say it to him, but I was not going to sit and hear them out right now because I had asked only one thing of them, that I needed some space. I needed some time away from them so I could sort things out in my own head, so I could process things, and all they had to do was respect that. In due time, if they could just given me some space, I probably would have been able to forgive her at some point or the other. And even if I had chosen not to forgive her at any point, they would have to make their peace with it because at the end of the day, what she did was not right. And these are just the consequences of what she did. They can't dodge it. They cannot pretend that what she did was okay just because it's been 10 years. That's not how things work, and they definitely do not have the right to sit and tell me that I don't have the right to be upset anymore just because a lot of years have passed. But anyway, they had made it very clear that they did not respect anything I asked of them. And if they didn't respect what I wanted, then they didn't respect me, and I was done with them. I was not going to put up with them and their insanely pushy, manipulative behavior anymore. And having said that, I stormed off. I went for a run after that and I went pretty far. And by the time I came back home, nobody was inside anymore. So I felt safe enough to go inside. And when I asked Leon what had happened, he told me that his family had been pretty upset with my behavior, and he obviously defended me. So they got even more annoyed with him. They picked a fight with him, all three of them against him, and then they told him they didn't want to speak to either of us anymore because we were clearly very disrespectful and selfish and didn't care about anybody else's feelings apart from our own, which is pretty rich coming from them. But anyway, he told me he doesn't care anymore, and honestly, neither do I. They had every chance to do the normal thing but chose not to. And now they're gonna have to deal with the consequences of their own actions. I'm not gonna feel sorry for them at all. And I am sure that Leon doesn't feel sorry for them either. Anyway, I'm glad that at least now they're gonna leave me alone because I was seriously beginning to get sick of them, and I'm glad that I'm rid of them now at least for a while. Update 4. Hi. So it's been a month since my last update. And like I said, I'm really glad to get some time away from my in-laws because they had really been getting on my nerves. And for the past couple of weeks, they have left me alone and it's been very peaceful. Unfortunately, this also means that they have been bad-mouthing me to the rest of the family. They've been downplaying the seriousness of whatever Amy did, and they've been making me out to be the bad guy by calling me a drama queen and an attention seeker, and honestly, I don't care. This just goes to show that I did the right thing by not forgiving them at all, because Amy clearly did not mean her apology. And if they really think that I am all the things that they say I am, then cool. I think that they'll be glad to stay away from me. As for Leon and me, we're doing quite well. We don't really care about what they're saying about me because at the end of the day, I know what I am. I know what happened, and I know that I did the right thing by taking a stand for myself. If they can't tolerate that kind of thing and they expect me to be some kind of doormat, then I'm sorry. But I'm not that person, and it's as simple as that. I'm really very happy with my life as of now, and I don't regret anything.